All right, welcome back to part two, South of the Mouth Sports. I am Brandon, and this is my brother Jeremiah, Jerry, as we call him. We're back for part two, like I just said, and we're going to talk a little bit about the upcoming playoffs, make some predictions, talk about some of the extenuating circumstances and how those might impact it. We're going to start with Georgia and Michigan. What do you think? What do you think about the situation going on?
So here's the big thing. A lot of people kind of overlook this, but Stetson Bennett is not the guy.
I don't think anybody's overlooking that.
Well, in all reality, Kirby Smart is.
Well, that is the one person that seems to be.
He has chosen to rock with him. And
right.
I don't blame him. Stetson Bennett won him a lot of games this season.
Right.
But you got a guy like JT Daniels sitting on the sideline who you brought in to be the next quarterback. You bench him because he's, not playing great or whatever you think, even though your team was winning or he got hurt. That's what it was. Something like that. JT Daniels got COVID. He's sitting, he's doing all the COVID protocols and all the things.
He's not going to be ready for Michigan.
He's not going to be ready for Michigan by no means.
They do have the freshman, was it Vandergriff or Sniff or whatever.
I have no idea, but I don't care who you are. I think that Georgia's defense is better than Michigan's offense.
Yes. Okay. So here's my take on it. I think that Georgia is good enough to beat Michigan with Stetson Bennett, and here's why. Who beat Michigan this year?
Michigan State.
How did they beat them?
Luck, because that's really all it seemed like to me.
No.
They played really good defense.
Kenneth Walker.
And ran the ball.
Right.
Which, you got James Cook.
What I was going to say, what is Georgia's strength on offense?
They got to run
their run game.
James Cook, man. Dalvin Cook's little brother.
What is Michigan's weakness on defense? The run.
Yeah.
So, I mean, what Michigan is great at is defending the pass. And that's why they were so good against Ohio State. I was about to say Oklahoma. Lord help me. It's been a long week.
It has.
But yeah, that's why they're so good against, in my opinion, that's why they're so good against Ohio State. So against Georgia, I think Georgia's going to be able to run the ball. They're going to cram it down their throat. Stetson Bennett's going to be able to get the job done because he's not going to have to throw the ball a lot. Michigan State did not have to throw the ball hardly at all to beat Michigan. Now,
Kenneth Walker had
he ran for like 703,000 yards on them, and most of it was in the second.
95 touchdowns.
Right, and most of it was in the second half because they were down by like 21 at one point or 18 or something like that, and they won the game in the second half. So the question is Georgia's offensive line going to show up and dominate like they're capable of doing? Their defense is going to be fine. Their defense is we're going to probably see the Georgia defense we've seen all year. And they're probably, Michigan's offense is not going to lay up 45 on Georgia's defense like they did on Iowa. And they're probably not going to drop 40-something like they did on Ohio State because Ohio State's defense was not great. The only time they look good is against teams that were not very good.
True. Every
team that had a decent offense put up a lot of points in Ohio State. I said it all year. I said their defense was bad all year. Every time they played a good offense, they did terrible. So it was no surprise to me when, a halfway decent offense put up some points on it. Georgia still has a good defense. That's a no-brainer. They just happen to go up against one of the two best offenses in the country. So now I just think they're a good matchup. They're well matched up to play against Michigan.
So here's in my opinion, here's where I see Michigan making a actual play. Aiden Hutchinson is a game changer.
Yeah, on offense when you're throwing the ball.
He's a game changer though. He's the best.
But they're not going to have to throw the ball.
Pass rusher in the game.
Pass rusher. They're not going to have to pass.
But I'll tell you that he's the second best pass rusher. Will Anderson.
Yeah,
we all know. And Georgia's got Jordan Davis up front. He's a disruptor. Everything, all that good jazz.
He's got a gravitational pull.
I think the dude is his own planet.
Yeah.
He is massive. And
That's
I
what
would
I'm
hate
saying.
to block that dude.
I wouldn't. I would just move and be like, it's yours, bro. You got it.
You see that quarterback? That's your guy.
That dude's my height, but he's built like a house.
It's freaking unreal. I just my only thing is when Georgia does throw, is Stetson Bennett going to be able to make, because the thing with Alabama is they started trying to go deep.
Right.
And Alabama got two interceptions on him, one pick six.
Right.
And that to me was where when they threw that pick six, and I think it was Brian Branch that got it and took it to the, no, it might have been
Battle.
It might have been Jordan Battle.
I can't
I don't
remember.
know.
One of them did the pick six.
But one of them got an interception, the other one got a pick six. Both of them got an interception. One of them got a pick
Right.
six. That's what I was trying to say.
I know what you meant.
That's the difference maker for Georgia.
Right.
Is because they were running the ball in Alabama just fine. But the turnovers.
They weren't running it great though.
They weren't, but they were still
Alabama's
running.
run defense is one of the best in the country, second best to Georgia.
Which talk about that later, guys. We'll get to Alabama in a minute. I think that Georgia wins.
Now, I'm not saying it's going to be a blowout. I think it'll probably be a dogfight.
I think it's going to be about a 6 point game.
I think Georgia's going to win it, and I think it's probably going to be because Stetson Bennett don't have to throw but 12 to 15 times. And I don't think they're going to take any deep shots. I think it's all going to be short slants and
short, quick passes. Get it out of
right.
Get it out of his hands as soon as possible.
Quick, maybe some dump offs in the flats, stuff like that.
Just something. Maybe some wide receiver screens, some bubble screens. I don't know.
But I think most of it's going to be won on the ground in the trenches, and I think the defense would probably score a touchdown to help them too.
It's one of that's going to be a really
that's the other thing.
Game.
Michigan has not played a defense as good as Georgia's.
They have not.
So I mean, everybody can talk about Iowa all they want to, but that Iowa team is nothing
compared to Georgia.
Right.
Even with Alabama scoring 42 points, which I don't think it was a fluke. I think it was something that we all seen kind of coming. Bryce Young was due to have a really good game.
Well, the offensive line showed up.
Yeah.
That was the best the offensive line has played all year, outside of maybe the Miami game.
We seen them that first week or that week before against Auburn, where Alabama's down 10-0.
I don't think the offensive line was even in the game.
Like our offensive line was just like, hey, we're not going to play.
Call us when the last series gets here, and
Bryce Young goes down the field like it was
97 yards, touchdown. Yeah,
Heisman Trophy winner Bryce Young. I'm still mind blown by all of this season, because it's like after that Texas A&M loss, it just transitioning into Alabama and Cincinnati.
I keep getting tickled at everybody saying it's a down year for Alabama.
It's a down year, and yet we're number one in the country going into the college football playoffs, playing debatably the easiest team we've played
all year.
No,
not all year
in the playoffs.
Oh yeah.
Outside of maybe Michigan, and I don't mean easiest because Cincinnati's just awful. I mean easiest because Cincinnati, and this is my opinion, and they may play great. They played Georgia 22-19 last year, and Georgia won by 3, and it was a great football game. I remember watching that game. This Cincinnati team, and you outside of their coach, they do not have the level of players to match up with Alabama.
Right.
They do not. Desmond Ridder is not going to go out there.
But I think that's where the game will really be won.
I
think there's some talent on the front line, but when it comes into rotating it in,
it's depth.
Yeah, that's where it's going to hurt them, especially when you get to the end of the third, into the fourth quarter.
That's what happened with Auburn. That's why Auburn couldn't finish the game,
right?
Because they couldn't go deep. They didn't have 4 or 5 people that they could go deep with.
Right.
Ja'Cory Brooks hadn't played a game all season hardly. Came in for crunch, garbage time stuff. Catches a game-winning touchdown against Auburn.
Mm-hmm.
Clutch moment.
Exactly.
In a young kid freshman's career.
Exactly.
Comes in and scores a game-winning touchdown against the team.
I think he had caught 6 passes all year.
Something like it was dumb numbers.
Right.
Comes in and plays really good football, or has a really good play in a football game. That's the thing. Cincinnati, I don't know and I don't want to call your fans delusional. I don't want to call people out there or anything like that, but if you look at Cincinnati and you say, hey, we're playing teams like UTSA and UTEP and Army, and which Army did beat Missouri. Hats off. Congratulations. You beat the lowest tier of SEC possible.
Missouri had a pretty good recruiting class though so far, or has a pretty good recruiting class. So we're going to see how that plays out.
I don't think that this Alabama game is going to be close, but that's what that's where I get scared going into the national championship. Because if Alabama does win, and let's say they win by, an insane number. Let's say they beat them by 40 points, or let's say Alabama plays a really close game with Cincinnati. Do they really match up well with Georgia again? If Georgia's got to play Stetson Bennett, yes. But if Michigan wins, I don't think Alabama matches up very well with Michigan.
Well, Michigan's good against the pass, and that's the part where Alabama might be in trouble against a Michigan team. Now, as far as offense versus defense, now when it comes to defense versus offense, I don't think Alabama's going to have any trouble slowing down Michigan's offense. So it's just probably would be a relatively low scoring game, and would probably come down to the last couple of plays of the game. I would assume, but honestly, I don't think Stetson Bennett at the helm could beat Alabama. But if a healthy JT Daniels started the game, he might could.
He gives them a better chance. That's what a lot of people are overlooking with JT Daniels, because he's got a lot of problems with, apparently, like I've seen a lot of quotes and stuff like that he's got problems with Kirby, and like that's hearsay, that's talk, that's whatever. If he does have a problem with Kirby, I wouldn't be surprised if he transfers by the end of the year. If it's that bad, if it's bad enough that Kirby's not going to play him over Stetson Bennett.
Right.
Because like as a fan of football, you can look at Stetson Bennett and tell that he's not a great quarterback. And that's not a knock on Stetson Bennett. I'm not a Stetson Bennett hater. I think the Cinderella story has been great. I think it's been a year to remember for the guy. But you cannot look at Stetson Bennett and say you are the best quarterback on this team and have a 6'5", 220 stud of a human sitting behind you that could come out and he can sling the ball, 70 yards, something like that.
Yeah.
And tell me that he's not better than you.
Possibly so.
Stetson Bennett, 5'10", is not Bryce Young, 5'11".
Right. Well, you know what's crazy though? We very well could be sitting here in 3 weeks being like, how did Stetson Bennett beat Alabama?
True. And we could be very wrong about all of this.
We could be sitting here in 2 weeks saying, how did Cincinnati beat Alabama? Like that's the craziest thing about football. And this is why I love it so much. Like we can sit here and analyze to the teeth what we think is going to happen. And then when they get on the field, matchups never, I mean, they can just, I don't know, it's just how teams match up can just completely flip, and it's hard to beat the same team twice in the same year.
It is. And I'm not, like I said, I'm not saying that Alabama is just destined to win this. Honestly, I thought Georgia was the team to beat all year long, and I still think Georgia's the team to beat, even sitting in number 3. I think the craziest thing about Georgia, and the thing that scares me most about Georgia right now is you don't know which quarterback's going to play.
Right.
Stetson Bennett gives you a chance to beat Michigan and Cincinnati, but does he give you a chance to beat Alabama? We've already seen what happens once when he plays Alabama, or twice in the last 2 years. He's lost by the same margin, the exact same score. And it's not like, I don't think it's necessarily a coaching thing. I just think it's a mentality thing. A video I was watching earlier, this dude made mention that like 90-something% of people that play Alabama go in with this like already beat. I don't think that's really true. I think teams come in with a sense of like, if we don't play our best game, we could get beat by Alabama.
Yeah.
I genuinely think that where Alabama and Georgia and Oklahoma and OSU and Michigan State or Michigan and these top tier teams, I think where they beat these these subpar teams or these teams that are not up to that level yet, it's the depth.
Right.
And that's what I'm looking at, especially with Cincinnati, is they're not deep. What happens if Desmond Ridder goes out?
Mm-hmm.
Let's just say what happens if Desmond Ridder goes out. Who comes in? Because I mean, if
I don't even know who the
Bryce
backup
Young,
is.
if Bryce Young goes out, we're kind of sitting.
We got Napoleon
sitting
Dynamite and Uncle Rico. You know what I'm saying? Now I know he can throw a football.
What's that? Jalen Milroe? Is it Jalen Milroe?
Well, Paul Tyson is QB2.
He can throw a ball, but
Yeah.
Jalen Milroe sitting in the back too. Who's probably going to end up transferring by next year. If that's just my opinion.
He might.
Ty Simpson, man, that was a big sign, and he's already like practicing with the team. Poor Jalen Milroe. He's a really good quarterback too.
I guess it just depends on, what they're looking to do. We'll see.
True. Anyways, that's my like back and forth with it. I could see Michigan not Michigan. I could see Michigan beating Georgia, but also I think Georgia's going to win that game.
What if Jalen Milroe goes to Ole Miss?
Let's not talk about that yet.
Oh man, I just got nervous.
Cincinnati.
Okay.
Cincinnati's not going to beat Alabama. Crazy.
Probably.
What's your call on that? Cincinnati and Alabama.
I think it'll probably be like an 18 to 21 point game.
That's kind of where I'm sitting with it.
And I think it'll probably be relatively close in the first half, maybe even halfway through the third. But I think at some point Alabama will pull away, and then they'll take their foot off the gas to cruise to the end. But yeah, I don't think Cincinnati has the firepower to hang with them for the duration.
I don't either. I don't see it happening.
And like I said with Georgia and Michigan, I don't think Michigan's going to come out and just dominate them like they did these other teams. I think it'll probably be a close fight, and I think Georgia will probably end up winning the game. And Georgia may even come out and beat them by 2 touchdowns. I don't know. I don't see Michigan coming out on top of that game, but they might. But I think Georgia's probably going to win that one. So I imagine we're going to have a rematch of Alabama and Georgia in the national championship, unless one of the other two teams just has the game of the season.
I mean, it's been Alabama and Georgia all year. Sorry, guys. I apologize. It's been Alabama and Georgia all year long in my book. And I've said it from the very beginning. I think Alabama wins the SEC championship. Georgia wins the national championship. I said that from probably week 2 or week 3 on. And I'm still sitting on it. Low key, I kind of want Georgia to win just because of some things that's happened in our family over the last year. Over the last few months.
Right.
It's been kind of tough on that end, but there is one more major thing that we have not talked about. Can you guess what it is?
Bo Nix.
Bo Nix.
Oh my God.
Oh, Bo and his horrible prediction saying that Alabama gets every call, saying that Alabama is the luckiest team in the country, that Alabama's this and Alabama's that. Decides that he's going to leave the University of Auburn and transfer to where? Oregon.
Yeah.
I'm kind of like, that's the only reason why I said hold off, and we'll talk about Ole Miss here in a minute. Because if Jalen Milroe does end up transferring and he goes to a team like Ole Miss, and honestly, that's probably the best fit for him.
Yeah.
Bo Nix almost went to Ole Miss.
Yeah. Jalen Milroe would be spectacular in Lane Kiffin's offense.
Dude, it'd be unreal.
It'd be scary good.
I genuinely think that Ole Miss in the next 3 to 4 years is probably going to be a powerhouse in college football.
If Kiffin stays, they will.
That's just my opinion. But
what about Mario Cristobal going to Miami? I'm sorry, that just popped into my head.
Dude, all these let's list all the coaches that left and went to a new school.
Oh my God.
You got Cristobal, you got Billy Napier, you got Brian Kelly, you got what's that dude that went? Lincoln Riley.
Yeah,
couldn't remember his name for
when
nothing.
they call it a carousel, they ain't playing around, man.
And then other coaches come in and replace them.
Venables going to Oklahoma.
Venables going to Oklahoma. Dave Aranda. I said Dave Aranda went to Oklahoma earlier. Brent Venables.
Right. Venables went to Oklahoma.
Which is the defensive coordinator from Clemson, if y'all didn't know that.
And then what's his face from Georgia going to Oregon?
Yeah, what is his name?
Lanning.
Lanning.
Yeah.
Dan Lanning.
I couldn't think of it for a second.
That's the only reason why Bo Nix went to Oregon in the first place, is because his OC, his freshman year, the guy that he had the most success under, ended up going to
Crazy,
Oregon.
man.
And this has been a wild college football season.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think it's done yet. I think
just wait for the transfer portal after the season's over.
Like, that's what I'm saying with players like Jalen Milroe, which, if you guys don't know who Jalen Milroe is, while he may be the third string at the University of Alabama, it's not from lack of talent. It's not because he's just not good. It's because Paul Tyson has family ties at Alabama, and he's been there. He's a junior, or going to be a senior next year. You know, he's the Bo Nix of Alabama. I doubt he starts next year. I don't see it happening. While he's got a phenomenal arm after that botch in the SEC championship.
Well, I mean, he wouldn't start next year anyway, because Bryce Young will be there still.
Yeah, Bryce Young will still be there, and I just don't see.
I imagine Paul Tyson probably transfers somewhere, because he's just not gonna ever start.
So the key speculation, though, coming in to the 2022 season is it's Arch Manning's senior year, and every school in the country wants Arch Manning.
Yeah,
where does he go?
I don't know. I would be hard pressed to think he would not go to Ole Miss, because you've got the best quarterback offensive coach in the country. I mean, and he is the perfect type of quarterback for him. You know, he can run, he can throw. He is a full-on distance, pass quarterback, just like Kiffin loves. And I mean, he would flourish in that. I mean, he would flourish pretty much in any system where you can throw the ball. But, and I'm not saying he wouldn't flourish at Alabama if he came there, but you're looking at, he's going to be sitting behind Ty Simpson for a year or two. The question is, does he want to sit for a year or two, or does he want to play right away? Because if he goes to Ole Miss, he's playing right away. I don't think he's going to go to Tennessee.
I think if he goes anywhere other than Alabama, he's going to play right away.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, does he want to sit a year? But I think if he goes to Ole Miss, they're probably, and with some of their other recruits they're going to have come in, I think they're probably going to have a good shot at a national championship because of the talent level he has, assuming he doesn't get hurt.
Yeah,
he's on a different level, man.
and if you guys haven't watched any Arch Manning like videos or anything like that, please go watch them. This kid, it's Peyton Manning and Eli Manning's nephew. It's not his son. So
yeah,
he's named after his grandfather, Archie Manning, and the kid he's got the most beautiful deep ball. It just lays in his receiver's hands.
Have you seen the flip he does right before he throws? Man, that's
reminiscent of Uncle Peyton. Like, he's got the whole, he'll get it. And it just, everything is mechanically sound. He just motion. I haven't seen any kid coming out of high school. Not any kid coming out of high school. I haven't seen a 10th grader look that good ever.
Yeah.
And I was watching him last year when he was a 10th grader, coming into his 11th grade year. Now he's going into his senior year. This kid just plays football well. Like, he is good at football. And it's very rare that you see a player that coming in as a freshman, you're looking at him as already the best player in college football, or the best player in the country.
Right.
Like, he was a freshman already better than everybody else. He was getting number one player comparisons as a freshman in high school, which would have been Bryce Young's senior year.
Right.
And he was already they were saying he was better than him. Better. My mind is blown by the way that this kid plays football.
He's going to be something else, man. We're going to see. It'll be interesting to see where he actually goes. Now, it's not really going to matter, because wherever he goes, they're going to be good. He's going to be successful, assuming he doesn't get hurt. And, I can't help but think it's probably going to be Ole Miss, unless he's just trying to do like Peyton did, forge his own path. You know what I mean?
Which Peyton was going to go to Ole Miss until Cooper got hurt.
Right. Well, I don't think Cooper wasn't hurt. something happened and he had to go see a doctor and he got diagnosed with whatever.
It was some kind of like out there thing.
So I think he had something on his spine where if he got injured, he'd be paralyzed for life or something like that.
And so he was just like, you know what?
Can't
I'm gonna
play
go play
anymore.
for Phil Fulmer.
Yep. And so after that, when Cooper wasn't going to be there, Peyton decided to go play for Tennessee.
I don't know. But if I'm the Manning brothers, like, am I looking at Coach Saban and saying, you know what, that's the best coach in college football?
That's the other thing, like, is Arch going to look at that and say, do I want to go where I'm going to compete against the best and become the best that I can be? Or do I want to go where I can play against the best competition right away? And so that's the question. What's he going to do? Because
and I'm not even saying
I think he's probably going to be in the SEC West. I don't think he's going to. I think it'll be
the
Alabama.
Only other team is Tennessee, and I don't see him going to Tennessee.
Yeah, I mean he might surprise us all and go to Ohio State. Who knows?
I mean, like Quinn Ewers did. Man, that kid was coming out top recruit. He'd have been the guy this year.
Yeah,
but all that to say, thank you guys. We are so glad to finally be back. Again, we apologize. We had another death in our family over the last week, and it's been a whirlwind over the last few months, losing our cousin and now losing one of our uncles. And we apologize for the lack of consistency. It's not been any fault to anybody else but our own. But moving forward, we are going to get as consistent as we possibly can, especially coming into the off season. There's a lot going to happen over the next couple of months. And be ready, because we're going to start talking about some NBA basketball. We're going to talk about some NCAA stuff and really like focus in on some probably our favorite sport realistically. But, we do appreciate you guys and all the love that y'all have shown us. And we cannot wait until the thing blows up and we get to see everybody else love our stuff.
That's it.
Anyways, I'm Jeremiah. This is my brother, Brandon. We thank you guys. We love you guys. Hope y'all have a great rest of your day.
Peace.